Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame, Encarta.
So it's just like a guttural sound as your middle name?
Yeah, basically because after watching this movie, I changed it because I don't know what I just watched. Very weird movie.
Yeah.
Not really sure if I like it or don't like it. It's one of those movies.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a movie. Made me feel things. I don't know what kind of things, but it made me feel them. And yep. And I do believe it's a movie with the word bullshit in it in a single amount of time, more than any other movie in the history of the world. But yeah, the word bullshit. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention that I was recently on another podcast as a guest. I was cheating on Sesame. And I was on this podcast called Pop Culture Junkie with the hosts Shauna and Olivia over there. And we talked about me, because that's my favorite subject. And then we also joking. We also talked about the 1983 TV miniseries V, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. It holds up. It's scary how well it holds up today, and is very emblematic of things that are going on in our current society. Recommend watching that. But if you want to, I'm going to have a link in the show notes. But you go to popculturejunkie.com and you can find their podcast there. It's a good show. They do a lot of similar stuff to what we do. It's like two best friends talking about pop culture stuff, very similar to what we're doing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I recommend checking it out, and that episode especially. So yeah, today on the show we were covering the 1983 film The Return of Captain Invincible. It's an Australian superhero comedy musical thing. Yes. So the short synopsis here, I'll go with that first before we give you some details. During World War II, Captain Invincible fought against Nazis using superpowers. Later falsely accused of communism, he retires in Australia. When a secret U.S. weapon gets stolen, he's called back but struggles with alcoholism.
Yeah. So that's kind of like an interesting thing to put into a movie. Like it's already weird enough, but now we have to introduce like addiction, that we have to speak on that as well. Like,
well, I mean, it's kind of similar to Hancock in a way, the Will Smith movie where he's a superhero who's kind of.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that movie.
This was, of course, pre-Hancock. That's how I like to divide my life. It's everything in my life is pre-Hancock and post-Hancock. It's just how I like to decide things. Like, when I try to things in relation to my life, I'm like, so was that before or after Hancock? I mean,
it's a good way to do like a timetable that way. It's good.
Yeah, I don't even remember when Hancock came out. I know it was in the 2000s at some point, but yeah.
2000, I think 11, maybe 2012. I'm not sure. I don't really care because I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was earlier than that.
Okay.
But now I got to look it up.
No, okay. No problem.
2008. Yeah, that's about the time I thought it was. Yeah, so 2008. So yeah, this movie was directed by Philippe Mora. The writers were Stephen E. D'Souza, Andrew Gady, and Peter Smalley. Pretty sure they're all like, I don't know. So, okay, here's something interesting. Stephen E. D'Souza was a writer on Die Hard, 48 Hours, Commando, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, Judge Dredd, Street Fighter, Beverly Hills Cop 3, The Flintstones, Hudson Hawk, Die Hard 2. Yeah, I was not expecting that. Yeah, that's interesting. He also wrote some on the TV series V back in the day. Jumping Jack Flash, the movie, the Running Man movie. Yeah, which is being remade soon. Yeah, so there's that.
That's an impressive resume.
It is. I mean, even just Die Hard on there is impressive.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it was based on a book, but still, he wrote it. Andrew Gady only has two writing things on his resume. This and a movie called Stanley. Every home should have one.
I gotta know what that is. I gotta look that up sometime.
Stanley, a lovable eccentric, is sent by his father to a sanatorium to make him normal. Desperate to become normal himself, he finds the most normal family he can to model himself on.
Oh my!
This looks interesting. Okay. Anyways,
yeah.
So yeah, that's the only two things he wrote. He's produced some other things, just a couple. He's then we got Peter Smalley, who's the other writer. He wrote Dead End Drive-In, The Wild Duck, Chopper Squad, 12 Squadron Buccaneers, Cop Shop, Center Play, Trouble in Molopolis, Emma's War. Yeah, that's it. So back to Philippe Mora, though, the director. Forgot to check on him and see what he's been up to in his life. He's got he's got 7 things in production or in development as director. The Man Who Thought He Was Salvador Dali, The Fake History of the Universe, Day in Sunlight, The Monash Whitewash, Philippe Mora's The Growling, Robert Johnson's Radio, The Age of Catastrophe. He's got like in his oeuvre of films here, he's got a film called Swastika. It's a documentary about the Nazification of Germany from 1933 to 1945. Okay. Yeah. He's got a movie called Mad Dog Morgan, The Beast Within, Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf, Howling 3, Pterodactyl Women from Beverly Hills, a movie called Snide and Prejudice. Yeah. According to Occam's Razor. Yeah. There's nothing like really jumping out here. He's got another movie called 3 Days in Auschwitz, another World War II.
Yeah.
This looks like a documentary too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, his mom. It says his mom avoided Auschwitz by 1 day.
Wow.
And on his father's side, many perished there. So yeah, okay. So yeah, and he's got 2000. It's got a movie from 2021 called Dracula Nazi Hunter: How I Learned to Love Christopher Lee and Drink Atomic. It's a documentary too. Yeah, because it talks about how Christopher Lee, people don't know this, in World War II was a British Secret Service agent who was hunted by Nazis. So
wow.
Yeah. Which is funny because he plays a Nazi in this. But anyways, so
yeah.
So okay, back to this here. This movie stars Alan Arkin as Captain Invincible, Christopher Lee as Mr. Midnight, and then a bunch of Australians.
Yeah.
That's just what it says here on IMDb. It says just a bunch of Australians. No, it's got For our Australian listeners, we've got Michael Pate or Pate, Pate. I don't know how you would pronounce that, as the president. Where's the Kate Fitzpatrick as Patty? So those are like the main characters we got to worry about. So that's all I'm going to talk about.
Wow.
Yeah. It also stars a little Yoda-looking thing, generic Yoda-looking thing that is never explained. That creeped me out, and I had nightmares about last night. So initial reactions to this wonderful example of cinema.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't think I liked it too much, but it was still interesting and a kind of interesting concept. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd be watching this a second time.
I might, just for the fun, because it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm seriously surprised that I've never heard of this movie before, randomly coming across it on Tubi the other day. Luckily I found it also. If you want to watch this movie currently, it's on Tubi. It's also on Hoopla, which is a app that you can get if you have a library card and watch a bunch of free movies and TV shows on. So I watched it on there because that way I didn't have to deal with ads. So yeah, so just letting people know that you should check that out because there's a lot of cool stuff you can get for free from being a member of your library that people don't use. And it's another thing, join your library. Also, check out the charities in our show notes, things that you can do to help people in Palestine. I'm going to add something from the Ukraine, not the Ukraine. I always say the because that's what it always used to be referred to for some reason.
It used to be,
yeah. And trans people, different organizations that need help right now because the world is fascist. Yeah. So I liked this movie, but I think I liked it for the reason it was probably intended to be liked, because I think it was meant to be a parody. Obviously, it was meant to be a comedy. Yeah. So if you go into it with that feeling, it's pretty good. Though I do think a lot of the humor falls flat.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something I would recommend other people per se, unless somebody asks me what's a fun movie that I can watch and make fun of with my friends.
That's one of them.
This is one of them. And I only recommend it mainly because of the fact that Sir Christopher Lee, the late Sir Christopher Lee, and the late Alan Arkin are two of the best actors that have ever lived. So there we go. So, and they're stealing the movie would not be, if this would have been just like two unknown people in those roles, this definitely would have fallen flat.
Yeah, no, it would not have been good at all.
Yeah. So what happens here in the Return of Captain Invincible?
So we get a bunch of like propaganda reels, like going from like maybe the 30s to the 50s, where he's kind of like Captain America, basically, like in this universe. He's off fighting Nazis. He's like teaching people to do the right thing. He helps out the Boy Scouts by singeing a kid's shoulder that left him with a permanent burn mark. And stuff like that.
Child abuse is the best way to leave a mark on a kid. Wait, no.
My God.
I'm joking.
Boy Scouts, yeah. It's better to do that than the other way that they do it. Anyway,
well, the Boy Scouts did leave a mark on me too, but it wasn't like a physical one. I luckily it was more of a psychological one and made me want to kill myself at sometimes. And I'm not joking at all. I hated the Boy Scouts with a passion.
Yeah, it's a lot of people come out of it just hating it. But anyway, he was doing that. He fights Nazis, but then during the Red Scare, he had to go in before the Council of Un-American Activities because, and I quote, he was a premature anti-fascist, meaning he helped kill Nazis in Russia when Stalin was dictator of Russia, and so they were like, oh. You killed Nazis for Stalin before we entered the war, so that makes you a communist. What? Mm-hmm. So killing Nazis too early is a bad thing, which I know this is a parody, but like right-wing people at that time actually believed that. Like, they were like, "Oh, you were anti-fascist before it was cool. Oh, you're like we're suspicious of you." Like
it's the same thing with like oh you posted something woke on Twitter 20 years ago and now it's or 10 years ago or whatever. Now it's going to come back to bite you because of some reason the right wing will like use that against you because like now you don't talk about that anymore, so they'll use it against you. It's just so stupid.
It's so stupid.
You were pro gay rights before it was cool. It's.
That mean, what are you pro now? If you were so woke back then, now what's your wokeness level? Are you like way too woke now?
Yeah, and it's not even. And I mean, plus the thing is, I just want to clarify that I don't think there's anything wrong with being a socialist or a communist. It's just how you are one.
How you utilize it exactly, and like even some forms of capitalism aren't like super bad, although I don't agree with it, but like there are some models of.
I said Superbad made a lot of money at the box office, so yeah, it is capitalist. Oh wait, that's not what you meant.
No, that's a good movie. I like that movie though.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and so he like leaves basically because he knows like he's gonna lose his case, and he's tired of being persecuted and like being treated like a criminal after like 20 years of basically saving America and the world from total annihilation. And I mean, they're like, why is? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it is a good like because this came out in '83, like right at towards the beginning of the Reagan era of America. And it's interesting timing too, like when it comes to that, because in a way you have like where people, especially, during the Red Scare and the McCarthyism and stuff like that, were, people that everybody loved one day, and then the next day it's like, oh, you support people's right to believe what they want to believe, so now we're gonna blacklist you in Hollywood or whatever. It's like, right. Yeah. And it's the thing. Same thing happens today. It's like people can't believe that, I mean, hopefully this never comes back to bite me in the ass, but people within QAnon and stuff, are just like, oh, we can't believe that Tom Hanks is a good person, so we're just going to make up lies about him and say that he's a pedophile or whatever. So, it's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he moved to Greece because his wife is like a dual citizen or something. Yeah. Stupid.
And they say that while he's in America.
Exactly. Well, no, he's a body double, bro. See, his body double's living in America, but he's himself is living in Greece. They ever explain
his body
why
double,
that would matter?
His body double is in Pittsburgh filming a movie, but no, it's like, what the fuck?
This is crazy.
Yeah.
And in the movie, they're asking him, why is your cape red? Is that supposed to mean something? And he's like, the American flag has red, white, and blue. Do don't change the subject. I'm like, okay. Like, whatever. Fuck you, man. So he just went off and just flew out of there, and no one ever saw him again, including the little. So it is important. The Boy Scout part is important because when he's doing the propaganda reel for that, one of the kids is like, I want to grow up and be just like you one day. And he's kind of like, well, I'm not really sure if that's possible, because he's got superpowers and stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe you could be like president or something. Like maybe that's like, a second, it's like a second goal or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, man, I guess I'll settle for being president. And so he puts his arm around his shoulder, but like it kind of like singed his shoulder a little bit. Cause I guess maybe he couldn't control his powers well, even back then or something. And so it like left a mark, but like later on we find out that this mark is somehow important for reasons that never was explained, but it wasn't. It was never explained.
I know, like a lot of things in this movie.
Yeah, a lot of things they just left unexplained. They're like, oh, well, which is kind of good because I think that like movies, especially like superhero movies, have gone in the other direction where like every story has to be connected to another story somehow. Like with the MCU, like it was cool at first, but we've gotten to the point now where it's like 50 simultaneous projects somehow have to all fit in with each other. And it's like, can we just have like a story, just be a story? Like, is that bad? Like, like,
so
like, can we have a one-off? Yeah.
I was looking up this whole idea of being a premature anti-fascist.
Is that a real concept? I was just wondering, like.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
So there was this brigade of people, international brigade known as the Abraham Lincoln Brigade.
Oh, wow.
And they, in the United States, the returned volunteers were labeled premature anti-fascists by the FBI, denied promotion during service in the U.S. military during World War II, and pursued by the Congressional Committee during the Red Scare. However, threats of loss of citizenship were not carried out. So yeah, they were.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they did, but they were labeled that. So it's a real thing. So I'm going to have to read more.
That's crazy. Yeah. I knew that some people thought that, but I didn't know it was like an actual concept. Like
there was a hyperlink to it on Wikipedia, so that's why I looked it up. I was like, "What?"
Wow, that's really interesting. Which then it goes also to prove that like America didn't really have any altruistic reasons to go into the war, because if you're like opposed to fascism early, they're like, no, you should let them kill like some Jews first before you start fighting them. Like, what? It's like,
it's like, I mean, well, the fact that America pussyfooted around and waited to join the war after they got bombed at Pearl Harbor is part of the fucking problem to begin with. I mean, the war could have ended sooner and less people would have died. But hey,
we definitely aren't living through a parallel. Ukraine. Anyway,
Ukraine and and we're just allowing
China
genocide
and,
in Gaza and
and
other places around the world. Yeah,
we alienated 90% of our listeners.
I'm sad, Matt. I mean, Sesame,
No.
what famous.
I'm sad too. So anyway, to lighten the mood up, he flies to Australia for some reason. He doesn't even know he did that. He just
Yeah.
landed there. And he's been living there for about 30 years at this point. He's become an alcoholic. He sings on top of mountaintops for some reason a lot and sleeps on there, I guess, some reason. And
So those scenes like freaked me out. He was like rolling around on top of this like mountaintop that was like really small. Like if he would have rolled over one way too far, he would have fallen down the side of this mountain, and it scared me.
Died.
Yeah,
it did. I was worried too. Like, dude,
that was the scariest part of the movie.
It was. I was like, oh my god, is he gonna die immediately? And then that's the roll credits. That's the movie. And kind of like, hey, this is why you shouldn't drink and roll over on mountaintops, kids, or whatever. And
I remember that day in school where they had that film strip that taught us that. Remember that?
They're like, don't roll over on mountains, especially if you're inebriated. But you shouldn't be drunk if you're like 12. But just in case you are,
right after they showed us in my school, they showed us a thing called Death on a Highway.
Oh my god, I don't remember that one. That's crazy.
It was like so bad. It was really old. I mean, it was like 30 or 40 years old at the time when I watched it in the 90s. And it was like,
I love it when they show it's like, what the fuck? My favorite though is, I don't know why we're on this now, but my favorite one is it's more like it's about doing drugs and not Scott Bakula. Wow. The Charles in Charge. What's his name? Shit, I can't.
Baio.
Huh?
Yeah. Scott Baio.
Scott Bakula. Scott Baio was in it, and it was all about like, don't do drugs, kids, and it kind of like it gets more intense throughout the movie. So at first they're like smoking weed because the gateway drugs thing or whatever, and they're like playing in their band, and the kids like, is that what your music is based off of? You just guys getting high? I don't want to listen to this if that's what this is. And I'm like, hey, bitch. Most of the greatest music was written on drugs. Sorry to say, but like it was. So that means take out all of your good records, Beatles, Led Zeppelin. Just don't listen to them then, because almost all of them were made on drugs of some capacity. But like this kid's like, no, I wasn't smoking weed. I was the only one who wasn't. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But I guess at the end of it, Scott, not Bakula, I was going to say it again. Scott Baio's character was like in a boat and he took acid and he like drowned, and that was like, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Death on the Highway was a 1971 film produced by a company called the Suicide Club.
My God.
And the synopsis is these images include charred corpses scraped from burned cars, a young man cut in half, a young woman with both arms the top of her. It was all to get us to stop that so we wouldn't drink and drive.
So how was that legal to show that in schools?
It was shown in a lot of schools.
I mean, that's like the equivalent of showing like pornography. I mean, it's so like adult content. Like,
and then we had like another day where they had a like reenactment of a car crash out in front of our school and stuff too. Or something. It was like, I just know they had like a old beat up car, and they had like people lying in the cars with like blood all over them and stuff. Like a couple of my classmates that, like, I don't know what grade they were in, but like, dressed up like these dead bodies and stuff.
Oh, that's insane. They really took that seriously then. Like,
yeah.
I bet you like there was hardly any drunk driving from anyone in your school after that. Like,
sadly, I don't know.
Oh, come on. God damn it.
I don't know if it affected anybody. It's like the whole DARE program didn't do shit. So
true, but DARE wasn't showing you bodies cut in half and charred and removing arms of people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? A little bit. That would be scary if they did do that. They're like how sometimes they would bring in like a person to be like a tale of like a cautionary tale,
like a scared straight thing.
No, not scared straight. Like a cautionary tale. Like there was this guy in my high school. He showed up and he was in a wheelchair because he was drinking and driving on his prom night, and he got into a really bad accident. He was a star quarterback, and he was gonna go to college, he was in scholarship, that whole thing. But like, what if like the Dare started doing that for like kids? Because usually a Dare, you start off when you're like 12. At least
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we started off around 11 or 12 years old, just kind of really early to be talking about that. Cause like most kids aren't even thinking about doing drugs. So like all you're doing is planting the idea of drugs into these kids'
Yeah,
minds who have never even heard of these things before. Like,
So there's this thing called marijuana. I never heard of this before. Oh, cool.
it's like I love that sketch of the Ben Stiller show where he's like talking about like how great drugs make you feel, and all the kids are like, "Whoa!" He's like, it makes you feel like you're just being swallowed up by the sun and eternal happiness and stuff like that. So, anyway, sorry, we're totally off topic, but like, so he doesn't die.
I was gonna tell another story, but I'll wait because it's too depressing. So we're gonna go back to the movie. That's a little happier.
Okay. Yeah.
So
He
yeah,
doesn't die.
yeah, he doesn't die, and he's got this he's like a drunk. He's kind of living on the streets or something in Australia, eating out of cans and whatnot. And so there's this what is it called, a hypno ray or something?
They have it's a weapon called a hip, but there's also a giggle gun, which is okay.
Yeah. So there's like this big meeting in Australia for some reason of like, I think it was in Australia. I don't know. But it was. Or was it somewhere else? I don't know, because it was like and I think it was in America in the movie. It was shot in Australia, but the president's there and all the like, joint chiefs of staff and all that stuff. One of whom has a robot hand for some reason. And,
yeah,
I don't know if that was like a Doctor Strangelove or I don't know, some other kind of reference or whatever. I don't know what that was. But they have this meeting, and they're discussing the fact that this big hypno ray was stolen by somebody, and they don't know who, and they can't figure out who would have stolen it. And for some odd reason, then they decide I don't know. I don't even remember the context of it, but the president gets up and starts saying bullshit, like I think like 150 times or something.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of bullshit.
I'm pretty sure that the word bullshit is in this movie more than like any movie in the history of cinema. But
probably.
I could be wrong, but I know. And then they do a dance number.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But
because this is a musical.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
And I don't even remember which song that was. Oh, there is a song. The song is called "Bullshit." Is the one song, and that's 31 seconds long. It's him singing bullshit, and then after that, it's like "We Need a Hero." I think is the big song that he sings. Yeah, those are the only two listed to the actor on the soundtrack. So yeah,
they made a soundtrack for this.
Well, yeah, they got a list of it on Wikipedia at least.
How could they really consider this a musical? Because it seems like there really wasn't that many songs. Like it seemed like it was a movie that had music in it. Like
there's 9 songs in it, so it's not like a flat out. It's not like an opera where everything is sung. It's more like I don't know, kind of like I don't know. I don't know what to call it. It's like I
guess it is like a movie musical. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like there's still like long stretches of the movie where nothing's sung. So
yeah, that's what I meant. It was just like it seemed like it usually like a movie musical has more, but then again, this movie was pretty short and stuff too. So
yeah, three of the songs in the movie were written by Richard O'Brien and Richard Hartley, the writers and composers of the Rocky Horror Show, which became the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wow.
Yeah. And the title song "Captain Invincible" is actually sung by Richard O'Brien. So
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't, however, write "Bullshit" or "We Need a Hero." So
good, because those were my least favorite songs of the movie.
They wrote "Captain Invincible," "Name Your Poison," and "Mr. Evil Midnight."
Okay, those were good ones. Oh my god. Oh my god. So yeah, he's living on the streets. He eats a lot of beans and cans. Those beans actually look pretty good. They weren't baked beans. They looked like they were more like, I don't know, kidney beans, something like that. Good protein. Good for protein. So
when I was a little kid, I used to think kidney beans were made out of kidneys of some
me
kind.
Too.
I
was like, what? How they get so many kidneys? Like how are they getting all these? It's like they make like millions of these cans, and each can probably has like 100 beans in it. Like, what the hell? And then, like,
So yeah,
oh my god,
anyways, they put out a call for Captain Invincible because the president is the little Boy Scout from the newsreel. So yeah, he became president.
because he said,
even though he looks like about 70 years too old to have been the little kid, but yeah.
Yeah, the timeline is really weird here, but yeah. Does the movie take place in 83 though, or
I don't know.
not?
It doesn't really say. Maybe it takes place
So
in the
maybe,
future.
yeah. So technically, maybe he could have been that old.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when they find him on the mountain, it's 1979.
Oh, okay. So it's even.
There's a news story where they're interviewing local people, and they interview him, and he's just talking about, yeah, so I was flying, and everybody just thinks he's some weird drunk that's making shit up.
Right. It's like, well, because he's never tested. He never uses his powers hardly anymore. Yeah. But even let's say that the propaganda reel was like 1939. That would mean the kid was like maybe 9 or 10 years old at the time, which means at max he'd be 50 years old as president. He looks like he's like 70s. So
and it had to be after 39 because I think they showed stuff from World War II before that. So yeah.
Right. So anyway, it doesn't really matter, but it's still kind of thing. And but yeah, like this plainclothes police officer kind of feels sorry for him because he's kind of just sitting like outside of a store being like a public nuisance or whatever. And then he accidentally saves her. Yeah,
he saves her, and he throws a VW bug up in the air, and it lands on the ground.
It explodes.
Yeah. So anyway, she sees him and everything, and then that ends and stuff, and then there's like a I guess a bolo or something out for everywhere in the world to find Captain Invincible, and so she looks at his photo and realizes, wait, that was the dude that I talked to earlier, So
the car up in the air.
So it makes sense why he threw the car up in the air because nobody believed him.
You know what though?
Yeah.
She needed to look at a photo to know that was him. It's like, oh, it could have been some other guy who threw a car up in the air. Like, what?
Well, we don't know. Maybe there's other superheroes in this universe.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it could have. Yeah.
Or the guy was just really strong.
Yeah.
You know how they say like a mother could lift a car if her baby was underneath it, the adrenaline, maybe it was just that,
Yeah, maybe it was, but that's kind of high though to throw up that. But oh my god.
But so then they basically find him, and then they try to train him through these random like quote unquote comedy bits of him trying to learn how to fly again and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's a weird montage of
and the like of course he's not doing great. They I don't know, basically they kind of set up like sort of like almost a romance, but sort of like not really, between Patty and him. She's the cop, and she's helping train him. Yeah, he goes and lives or like stays with her at her apartment for a bit, and he ends up like breaking all of her appliances because of his magnetic powers that go off.
He has no idea.
That go off at the one point because he looks at her ass.
Right, you got to do that. You got to do the funny bit.
I mean,
she takes
early. They had another thing where all of his magnetic powers came on, and all of the metal in the room came flying, including the random guy's metal robot hand, and like all the buttons fly off of the women's being exposing their brassieres and whatnot, and you
have to have the obligatory female exploitation. I mean, this is the 80s after all. All that jazz, and there was one scene too where she put all of her liquor bottles into like a safe because it tempted him.
Yeah.
She went to the bathroom, and he was trying to open the cabinet, which is weird because he wasn't strong enough to do it, which is okay because he's like literally invincible, but he couldn't even bust strength to open the cabinet. But then he ends up like having like this weird vision, like he faints or something like that. I don't remember exactly what was going on with that, but
they didn't really explain that.
Yeah, they just he was having all these weird visions of like the past of all the missions, I guess, that he was doing, because it's like all starting to come back to him apparently. But again, they never explained what that was about. And yep, they find out we find out too that he sold all of his old stuff probably for beer money or whatever over time. And so they had to go to like all these different pawn shops. My question for that though is, why were they all still at the pawn shops? Like nobody ever bought them. You know what I mean? Like
you think there'd be some collector's market for this? Even, I mean, there's collector's market. I mean, I know it's like, years later now, but still, it's like there's collector's market for everything. Even though he was a disgraced supposed communist or whatever, I mean, there's collector's markets for John Wayne Gacy memorabilia and stuff, and he was a serial killer. So it's like
it's always a market for stuff like that. Plus, too, if we're thinking here, like, let's say he didn't become an alcoholic right away. Maybe let's say 2 years later he finally starts drinking. That means still that like this stuff is just sitting in pawn shops for like 27 years and no one has bought them. Like, what the hell? Like,
I mean, even his costume would be, I'm sure somebody could sell it for clothing or for a high school musical or something. But yeah,
I mean anything. But yeah, so all they do is they just go to all these pawn shops to somehow find the completion. He's got this weird wristband that's like tuned to like a radio. He keeps saying she's not on. Nobody knows what he's talking about. He keeps saying she's not on right now. And then but we do have this other B plot. Well, I guess it's not a B plot, but it's like where like they're creating all of these weird like housing developments in the suburbs, but they're like really racially specific. So it's kind of creepy. Where it's like, you're Italian.
It's like on one of the islands in New York. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're Italian, so we just like created like a artificial Italian neighborhood for you guys to live in, so like you could be like segregated from everyone else.
Yes.
They got one with the African one too. I'm like, wow, so you guys are just literally promoting like, well, I guess what separation's the more correct term.
Yeah,
but still, I mean, like creepy.
They have a Jewish one, an Italian one, it's just like,
a generic African one because Africa is like a huge continent. But yeah, whatever, it's African.
Still, also Jewish. Like Jewish people are from all over, so it's like.
Well, the Jewish one was very, very stereotypical.
Yeah,
and they do this by the quote, the hypno ray, which is basically it just like makes people agree to like whatever you want them to agree to. So they're like, you are going to live here, and they're like, we are going to live here, and so they buy like a condo or whatever.
Yeah, my thing is. So if he wants to get rid of all these people, why didn't he just use the hypno ray to make all the people kill themselves?
Well, maybe because it makes some money at first by doing the housing development. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if you want to, commit a genocide and you have this thing that'll make
capital. Yeah. Oh my God. He needs capital. He needs to make money first in order to do all his plans, right? So he's making some coin from all the housing developments that he's tricked people into. Not tricked, hypnotized people into purchasing. Oh my God, there's just so many weird things in this movie. Because at one point they go to this. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, and my favorite thing is that Mr. Midnight has like a random like little sidekick that is like a green, I don't know, reptilian looking person that scared the hell out of me. And
it's so creepy looking. He doesn't really do anything throughout the movie. I don't know what his.
He's just there. And he looks like he looks like I said, he looks like a Temu version of Yoda. It's like,
no, totally. He looks like something like that.
Yeah,
like they probably introduced him because 83. So that's Return of the Jedi came out in 83, and Yoda was used in Empire. So that would Empire came out, what, 1980, 81, something like that?
Yeah.
So that's probably why they were like, oh, we got our own weird... But I don't think he ever speaks in the movie, does he?
No. He's just there.
He doesn't have a single... Yeah.
Christopher Lee just talks to him, and then he also talks to this like bird he has that he ends up eating later. But yeah.
Yeah, that was another fucked up weird thing. It's like, you don't have your own food, dude? You're a millionaire. Like, you can't just like have someone deliver some Chinese to your mansion or whatever it is. I don't know. It's so stupid.
Maybe he doesn't. He probably doesn't like ethnic food. So
True, yeah, because exactly. So whatever he eats, I don't know, fucking just like cottage cheese or something like that. I don't know, but like, and so, but didn't he remove one of his fingers? The green thing? Didn't he cut off one of his fingers at one point? Or
I
am I
think
just
so.
like?
I don't know. It's a lot happened.
Yeah, a lot does happen. It's like a lot of, especially in part 2 of the movie, like the second half. Like at one point, they're like in a vacuum cleaner shop because they're trying to find Dr. Midnight because he's got all these different storefronts for his like shady businesses, and like he accidentally turns on all the vacuum cleaners to the point where it's sucking up all the really. Our
Yeah.
vacuum cleaners that strong that they can suck up all the air in a
So-
room, and
I have a little trivia here.
okay.
The actor James Coburn was originally supposed to play, he was interested in playing Captain Invincible. He was a good friend of the director Philippe Mora and always wanted to work with Mora on a project. Coburn was all set to play the part, but had to drop out over a disagreement with a certain scene. Despite Mora explaining the reason for the scene being in the movie, Coburn just could not understand the point of the scene involving the vacuum cleaners. He said to Mora that they should work on another project some other time, and so they did on a movie called Death of a Soldier in 1986.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he just couldn't. He was fine with the rest of the movie.
But that one scene is the one that set him off. Like, nope, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna look like an idiot. And I mean, it was such a pointless scene. It was just so dumb. Like there was no point to it.
There are so many other pointless scenes in this movie too. It's just like that's the
I know,
one.
but that was the worst one because it was like all it was meant to do was to show off that he still can't control his magnetic powers or something. Like that
and then get Patty in her underwear, basically.
Yeah, that part obviously too. Of course, you got to do that part, and also being like choked by the things. So like another erotica thing, if you're into that kind of thing, like so that was creepy. And then he eventually like just breaks through the ceiling or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he does, but somehow gets air involved. And then they go to a deli at one point, and this is what. So I didn't understand. This was like a deep cut from no pun intended. A deep cut. For me, I didn't really understand it at first until I thought about it like a half hour later. I was like, oh, that was pretty clever. So like he's going to the like everybody like looks at them first, like when they come in, like they're all like just suspicious of him like immediately. And then he goes and orders a sandwich and he's like, you're not even really Jewish because they're like interrogating him. He's like, I don't know that name, Dr. Midnight or whatever, or Mr. Midnight. What's Dr. Midnight or Mr. Midnight? Mr.
Midnight. And this is after they go to the United States at that point. Most of the movies in Australia up to that point. So he flies to the United States up in the air with Patty on his back.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that scene too. So they're at the.
She's just flying. I just think it was funny. She's just flying there, like taking Polaroid pictures of things while she's up in the air and everything. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure if you're flying that high, there's something you would die.
You would either die from falling or exposure to the really cold air, or
you're flying
or freezing.
Australia to New York. That's like a 24-hour.
Yeah, and there was one scene in the beginning too where he's just sitting on a Nazi airplane. And can't see because he's just standing on the. But that was part of the propaganda reel. But this deep cut here, no pun. Oh yeah,
I was just saying. Plus, he could be, he's got superpowers and stuff, but Patty doesn't. So that's my issue.
Yeah, she's
with
just a regular. Yeah, exactly. So when they're at the deli, this is the deep cut that I later came to appreciate like a half hour later. So he orders a corned beef sandwich, and then he's like interrogating the guy at the same time. And it's like, I do think you know Mr. Midnight or whatever. Like, I don't know that name. He's like, I don't even think you're not even really Jewish. He's like, of course I am. And he's like, yeah. Well, why are you putting mayonnaise on the corned beef? And then the guy like realizes like according to like kosher law. Or kashrut in Hebrew. I'm so fancy. I could speak Hebrew. Yeah, I know like 10 words. Anyway, but I can say a few.
That's more than me, probably.
Well, I'm a polyglot. I'm learning like 3 languages all at once, and I guarantee I probably would be in my 70s before I can actually even like really know them. Anyway, so according to the laws of kashrut or kosher, if you want to name and speak English, no, you can't eat meat and dairy
English
products.
is the official language of the United States, so that's all you can speak from now.
That's true. Sorry. And yeah, sorry, Donald Trump. I'll make sure that I'll get it right next time.
So instead of saying kosher, even because I think that might be considered a different language, you just gotta say stuff that's good for Jews.
That sounds like really anti-Semitic. It does. Wow. Wow. Stuff that's good for Jews.
I'm wondering with this whole English being the official language, are we still allowed to call them croissants? Are we allowed to call them, tostadas and tortillas and different things?
I don't know. So yeah, I'm not even sure what kashrut means like in the actual language. So maybe you could make an English rendering if you really need to. But it's interesting because you can eat eggs with meat, but not dairy. And I don't know I'm not really sure. So for example, like, I don't know if there's like quote unquote loopholes. Like, let's say you're eating a hamburger and then you take a bite of the hamburger and then you swallow it and then you eat a slice of cheese separately. I don't know if there's a loophole.
Eggs, I understand, because eggs aren't dairy, even though they're in the dairy department at the grocery store. They're not dairy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you can eat, but there's also like not a proverb. What's the word? Like the debate thing, like where you have to like sort of solve like a contradictory teaching. I don't know what the word is for it. So basically, but one of the rules is that you can have chicken with eggs, but you can't have chicken with meat because chicken is a meat and milk is dairy. But eggs come from they're like the babies, like so it's like. It's an interesting little like problem that like I don't know if the rabbis ever really solved. I don't know if it's even can be solved. If it's just like because they also have I don't know why I'm getting into theology. What the fuck am I doing? But in Judaism, there's also a concept where some of the laws literally are not even supposed to make sense. Like you just have to follow them. Like the rabbis will literally just tell you like I don't know why.
There's probably people listening that know a lot more than what we are talking about, so they can explain it to us if they want to in the comments.
Yeah. Go send us a message, and I because I'm always eager to learn shit. So
me too. And we're not trying to be ignorant or anti-Semitic or anything by our ignorance. So so there we go. But
I mean, the percentage of the possibility that someone who's well versed in the laws of kashrut and is also listening to this episode is probably very minute. But
I don't know. We do have listeners in Israel and places, so.
Oh wow! I'm sorry, that surprises me a little bit.
We literally, when I checked the things at times, we've had people in all over the world, like a lot of people in Ireland.
That's okay. That's maybe we have like a sense of humor that Irish people like or something. Or
I don't know. I haven't looked at the analytics lately, so who knows what we have now, and we'll see. I'll look that up sometime before the next episode and try to let people know where most of our listeners are from. Most of them are obviously in the United States, but we have some others elsewhere. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, since you brought up Ireland, for our Irish listeners, I just want to say that I do support the IRA, and I do think that Northern Ireland should break from the UK. Fuck the Ulsters, the Ulster Union who wants to be part of the UK. You guys can go to hell or jump into the river or whatever. I'm only here for the true Irish. Now we probably lost like half of our Irish. God damn it.
We've probably lost like so many different people in this one episode. So.
This one episode, we've like lost everyone. Like we've lost the Israelis because we talk about Palestine.
Australians, we've lost every Irish people.
The people who don't like trans people, we've lost them. The people who are fascist, which I wouldn't like the fact that we might have fascist listeners, but maybe it's possible. I don't know. But
anyways, back to Captain Invincible. So there's this whole like big shootout in the deli. And then at one point they sliced the guy with the meat slicer, which was weird.
It cut off.
Yeah, but also there was a thing where there was like this big like sausage or something that turned into a machine gun as well. So yeah,
that was weird. That was really weird.
And then they start a pie fight in there, or
That's right.
cake
That's how
fight.
it stuff.
They were throwing pie cakes at each other, and it was like, okay,
because he couldn't get his magnetic powers to work, and so he was just trying to think fast, and then he thought of pies.
So I'm thinking back at Coburn, who said no to the movie, and he was fine with this scene, but not the not the vacuum.
It's bad. It's so goofy. Yeah, this scene is almost as bad as the vacuum one.
Scene. Yeah, and so then somehow there's like this big this hole or trap door in the ground that Captain Invincible falls down this, like, I don't know, like endless tunnel down the ground somehow, and he's in like near the lair of Mr. Midnight.
That was weird. Not sure how that worked out, but
yeah, I keep wanting to call him Dr. Midnight as well, but that's a different character. Isn't that a DC character or something? Yeah. So I think that was a character that was on Stargirl. So
okay, yeah, maybe, and but notice this is Mr. Midnight, played by the late Sir Christopher Lee.
Yes, and who I do recommend. His Frankenstein movies are the best adaptations of Frankenstein movies ever made. You can't convince me else otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that there's that, and then we get like a big like fight with all of the henchmen of Mr. Midnight down there with, they're all fighting Captain Invincible, and of course he wins. Then there's like this big scene where there's the song Name Your Poison, sung by Sir Christopher Lee, which I guess I didn't know this. It's like it went viral, like this scene on YouTube at one point. So yeah.
You never know what to go viral on YouTube and TikTok.
Because people were like all like surprised that Christopher Lee could sing, but the thing is he actually years after this released like an album and stuff like that. So
I mean, he sung in the Wicker Man too.
Yeah, he sung in Wicker Man. Sir Christopher Lee singing in the movie was out of the ordinary at the time, but 13 years later, he recorded his first album called Sings, Devils, Rogues, and Other Villains from Broadway to Bayreuth and Beyond. Not Beirut, but Bayreuth. Bayreuth. Yeah, and he, I guess, containing a mixture of classical opera and modern music, followed by a 2006 standards album called Revelation, including his version of Paul Anka's My Way. And then he had a heavy metal concept album called Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross.
Really?
And another one, and that was in 2010, and then another one called Charlemagne, the Omens of Death.
Wow.
So I need to look those up.
Yeah.
I want to hear the heavy metal concept albums by Christopher Lee.
No, I've heard of it. I have never listened to it, but I have heard of it.
Yeah. So so we got that, and then so he sings this song, and it's basically this whole song where he has this like huge like bar in the middle of nowhere that has all these different types of drinks, and he starts to be racist about the drinks, and saying that you can't drink Jose Cuervo and all these different things because they're all the different ethnic drinks he basically is like trying to get rid of, and basically just wants, I don't know, was it like vodka or something? I don't know what he settled on. So
with like ethnicities being separated, even when it comes to the point of drinking alcohol, man, this dude is crazy.
So yeah, there's that, and then he's basically trying to tempt Captain Invincible to drink, but then there's like what happens after that? I can't remember exactly.
Well, so he's tempting him, and Captain Invincible is like crawling on the floor to like stop himself from submitting to his temptation, which even that's kind of weird, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, they're probably going to start paying him eventually. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably rich to begin with, being like a superhero for the world, or at least made some kind of stipend or stipend. I never knew how you pronounce that, but stipend. So it's like right after you kill Mr. Midnight, you can just go and just buy liquor. Like, you don't have to drink right now. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, go kill him. 10 minutes later, you're at the liquor store. You can buy whatever you want, But but he's on the floor, writhing in pain, trying to fight the urge to drink. And the Australian, I always forgot. I never even knew her name. There's a plainclothes officer.
Patty.
Patty.
Yeah. I forgot to mention when they got to the United States, they started living in the crown of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
weird. And so she's looking through all these records for some reason, and she's gonna try to do because he's always checking his radio saying she's not on right now. And I guess there used to be like a radio thing where I guess it was like an operator that he would talk to when she would give him information.
Actually, what it is, it's he kept trying to listen because I guess to get him in the mood to fight for America, he was always looking for Kate Smith's heart-stirring rendition of "God Bless America" from 1943. That it's probably the most famous version of the song. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so yeah, she plays that, and that's what inspires him to fight and kill or just whatever, destroy Mr. Midnight. And then right before that though, he was gonna just shoot all of the ethnic neighborhoods that he created to kill everyone.
Oh yeah. At that point he basically has he has these submarines launching to kill them all, and he has a model that's a big pool with the neighborhoods in it.
Right. So my question for that is, we have very, very futuristic technology that even the most sophisticated governments don't have access to, such as the giggle gun or the hypno ray. But then he's using primitive missiles from the 1940s. It looks like submarine ships. Why don't you just use a laser or something like that?
It's probably the stock footage they could get for the movie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
and I have a feeling, I'm going to call up Pete Hegseth and find out if we have a giggle gun. I really think. You think he'll tell me?
You should know. You should send an email to his make sure you use a VPN or something to make a fake email so they don't track you. But go to his staff, because they're probably the ones that are going to actually read the emails and stuff, and just be like, does the giggle gun exist? They have no idea. Don't make no context for it either. Don't even say for the movie Captain Invincible, just subject, does the giggle gun exist? Content, read above, read the title, and then that's the entire email.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I might actually do that just for relevance.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Should I ask him about the hypno ray as well?
No, I'll do that one. So then it confuses me even more because the second email address, who is this person? We randomly got two people that are talking about hypno rays and giggle guns.
And then they'll be like, wait. They'll be like, wait, they found out. They'll be like, they found out.
The problem.
Who told them? Who let this leak? Was it one of those? Was it one of those?
Kill them.
Was it Big Balls over at Doge that let this out?
Big Balls. I thought that was a joke at first when SNL was. I had no idea the guy was actually nicknamed
his name is Big Balls. Yeah,
such a joke, man. Oh, all right, whatever.
Yeah, and we've got people on Doge that were saying that all Indians should be killed and stuff online, and then JD Vance, who's married to an Indian woman, defended the guy.
Oh, that's lovely. That's great. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and the guy got fired for it. He got rehired because JD Vance said he should get rehired
because of free speech. He's a free speech absolutist, bro. That's why you can't stifle someone's freedom of speech to advocate murdering a whole race of people. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, a guy just wants your wife and kids dead, but that's okay.
No, because she's an American, so it's okay. She's not from India. I mean, she's not. So he's saying just the Indians or people who came here directly from India. I think she's second generation, so it's totally fine.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Anyways,
Captain
Invincible ends up basically saving the day, and all is good in the world.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Except for those watched it.
Maybe this. Okay, here's my thing. I'm thinking that at Guantanamo Bay, they should just show this movie to everybody.
Oh my god!
On loop.
Yeah. That might do. Because I remember one time, I think it was Afghanistan. Maybe it was Guantanamo Bay. I don't remember. where the soldiers were playing Metallica to like drive some of them crazy because they couldn't sleep. I'm like, dude, if that was me, I love Metallica, so like I would probably fall asleep to listening to Metallica.
I also read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true, that they were playing like Britney Spears to like really loud to drown them out too, like so they couldn't sleep. Yeah,
that would affect me a lot because I don't really like most of her songs. Some of them are pretty good, but
but free Britney. Oh wait, I think she's already free. So anyway,
yeah, I guess so.
So anyways, I think that's about anything else to say about this movie.
No, I don't.
I guess there was a different cut of this movie too that Mora was really upset about too, that one of the writers did of the movie, and he hated it, so it got back to the original version, which is what we saw. So that they were trying to make it more palatable to the American audience.
Oh, that's sweet. No, it needs to be the way it is.
Yes, it does. So, I think that's about all I have to say about the movie. We've said a lot. So yeah, folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope we didn't offend you. We love you all. Yes, we do. Check out all2reeltoo.com. It's the best way to get in contact with us on all of our social media, links and stuff. You can check out our TeePublic on there too. Check out our Patreon. Good way to help support the show. Share the show with your friends. Be good to each other. Just remember that I love you. Bullshit. Sesame loves you.
Yeah, I do.
Trans rights are human rights.
True.
No human is illegal. Free Palestine, free Ukraine, and free any country that's under evil reign. Ooh. I was trying to rhyme.
Yeah.
And
Evil Reign.
Yes, Evil Reign. That's the name of my punk rock band. No. Anyways, just remember that. Fight the oligarchy. Yeah. Fascists can fuck off. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.